You're in the shower, mid-argument with someone who isn't even there. You've already got the perfect line, sharp, calm, and completely devastating. The only problem is, the actual conversation ended about 3 hours ago, or it's 2 a.m., and you're explaining yourself again to someone who stopped listening a long time ago. In the car, on a walk, folding laundry. The second whatever you're doing gets boring enough, the little theater in your head opens up, and there's always a show already running. We all do this, constantly. Whole scenes, full dialogue, with people who will never hear a single word of it. And almost nobody says it out loud, because some quiet part of you wonders if it means something's wrong with you. It doesn't. And there's a Harvard study that measured how much of your life goes into exactly this. The number is bigger than almost anyone guesses. But why your brain does it is stranger, and a lot kinder than it feels at 2 a.m. Start here. The moment you stop paying attention to the world around you, your brain doesn't go quiet. A whole network switches on. Neuroscientists call it the default mode network. It lights up most when you're doing nothing in particular. Daydreaming, remembering, picturing tomorrow, quietly wondering what someone else is thinking. So that drift right after you finish a task isn't empty time. It's your brain clocking into its other job. Running scenes, and a huge share of those scenes are conversations. Here's that number. A Harvard study pinged thousands of people at random moments and caught their minds wandering about 47% of the time. Nearly half. And a lot of that wandering isn't random noise. It's you, replaying and pre-playing the people in your life. Which brings up the question, why conversations? Why does a brain built to save energy spend so much of it staging talks that might never happen? Because it isn't really built to think. It's built to predict. It spends its whole life guessing what comes next, so nothing catches you off guard. And the cheapest way to test a guess is to run it. Losing an argument 100 times in your head costs you nothing. Losing it once, for real, in front of someone who matters, costs a lot. That's why you'll run the same 3-minute talk 5 different ways. Each version is your brain asking the same quiet question. And if they say that, then what do I do next? Start with the conversations pointed at the future. The raise you're going to ask for, the thing you finally need to tell your dad. The breakup you've been circling for weeks. Run that talk in advance and you're doing what a pilot does in a flight simulator. Flying the route once, so the real thing isn't the first time your hands have ever touched the controls. There's a name for it. Prefactual thinking. Your brain builds what-if versions of things that haven't happened yet, so when the moment finally lands, part of you has already been there. And notice, you never rehearse the version where it goes fine. You rehearse the disaster, the flinch, the no, the worst thing they could possibly say. Because the point was never to feel good. It's to not get blindsided. Then there's the other kind, the one that stings. The argument you already lost, running again, except this time you win. Why waste effort on a fight that's already lost? You can't change it, the words are already out there. But go back to that actual moment. Someone hit you with something you didn't see coming and your mind went blank. That's not you being slow. Under stress, the part of your brain that finds the right words gets drowned out by the part screaming that you're in danger. The French named this 300 years ago. Diderot called it the spirit of the staircase. That perfect comeback that only shows up once you've left the room and you're already halfway down the stairs. So the replay isn't pointless. It's your mind benching the thinking it couldn't do while your heart was pounding, and quietly filing a better answer for next time. It feels like torture. It's closer to homework. And when you finally land the line you couldn't find in the moment, you feel it. A small, satisfying click, like the score just got evened. That hit is the reward, dropped on purpose, so you'll run it again. Here's the part most people miss. When you imagine that conversation, you're not just writing your own lines. You're running the other person too. You predict what they'd say, how their face would shift, the exact tone they'd land on. That's a real skill, theory of mind. And it means you've built working copies of the people you know, living in your head, able to talk back. It's the same thing you do right before sending a risky text. You can feel, in advance, the exact face they'll make when it lands. Sometimes that's the only thing that stops you hitting send. But some of these scenes aren't rehearsals for anything. And this is where it gets delicate. There's the life where you took the other job, where you said yes instead of no. The conversation with someone who's gone now, the one you never got to finish. You're washing dishes, and suddenly you're back in a room from 10 years ago, saying the brave thing you were too scared to say then. Nothing about your actual life changes. But for 30 seconds, the version where you stood up for yourself gets to exist. These don't prepare you for anything. They're built for comfort. A researcher named Eli Summers spent years studying people who do this vividly, for hours at a stretch, and found almost every invented scene does one of two things. It repairs a past that hurt, or it softens a future they're scared of. For some people, it isn't vague at all. It has a soundtrack, a cast, whole storylines that pick up right where they left off. A second life humming along underneath the real one. And sometimes there's no problem to solve at all. You're just talking to someone because you miss them, or because it feels good to be understood, even by a person you built yourself. That's not madness. That's a mind keeping itself company. Your nervous system hates an unfinished story. Something left open keeps tugging at you. A low hum in the background you can't quite switch off, and running the scene is how it tries to close the file. But there is a line. In one of Summers' studies, more than half the people said they'd had daydreams so real that they later mixed them up with things that had actually happened. That's the risk, tucked inside the gift. The better your brain gets at building these worlds, the more tempting it is to move in. To rehearse the hard talk so perfectly that you never actually go have it. To visit the life you didn't choose so often that the one you're in starts to feel like the rough draft. Peel back the future you're rehearsing, the argument you finally win, the life you didn't choose, and it's all the same move. Out here, you can't control what other people say, and you can't go back and redo yesterday. So you build a small version of both in your head, where the other person says their line right on cue, and the past holds still long enough for you to fix it. So next time you catch yourself mid-sentence with someone who isn't in the room, don't fight it. Just ask yourself one question. Am I rehearsing this so I'll actually go have it, or so I never have to? One points at a door you're actually going to walk through. The other, at one you've quietly decided to keep shut, because the version in your head feels so much safer than the real thing. Same daydream. The only question is whether it's walking you toward the room, or keeping you out of it.